afternoon. Today is September 30th, 2020, 4:30 p.m. Greenwood Leflore Consolidated School District Work Session. May we bow our heads for a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Dr. Brown.
Okay. Good afternoon. Work session agenda. The first thing we have is our data reports. On page 4, you have the enrollment for the district. On the next page, we are continuing to provide lunch for our students, and you have the lunch counts for the month of September. Mr. Johnson can give you more details about lunch pickups and deliveries now and what we're offering to the community.
So starting in September, we went back to what we was doing earlier in March and April by providing lunches to anyone 18 years or younger. They no longer have to be a student of the school district. So we are making those meals available through the community by bus drop-off. They're going through the neighborhood starting at 12 noon each day, and they'll be going through several locations, and as they see individuals and as they see certain stops, they'll provide those meals for anyone that come to those stops. We're also providing the meals at each school cafeteria starting at 11 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. Parents are able to come by and pick up, as well as anybody 18 years or younger.
So the next page we have is an update on the COVID-19 data for Leflore County. If you look through page 9, this information was presented. I'll just go to the updated information starts at September 21st. So, and that's on page 17. I'm sorry, page September 11. Page 16 is where the new numbers begin. So beginning September 11th, the COVID-19 cases, there were 1,320 cases. And as of the most recent data, which is September 28th, those cases, those numbers have increased to 1,426, and this is only for Leflore County. So if you look at page 18, I provided you with just the end of the month totals to kind of keep track of where the numbers are each month. Starting in June, we ended June with 472 cases. We ended July with 827 cases. We ended August with 1,252 cases, and as of September 28th, 1,426 cases. What you will see on page 18 also in the graph, although the numbers are increasing, those cases by when we got to in between August and September are not as high as they were between June and July and August. There's also a new, it's not a new report, but it's a new way of reporting it. So I included page 19, and this is a COVID snapshot for Leflore County. And this was for the week of September 13th through the 19th. And this is the same data that just used a different chart for this particular week. But if you look on the back of page 20, the COVID snapshot for Leflore County, these are the total cases by race. unknown, and this is just September 13 through the 1963, other 102, white 213, and black 991 cases. And what I'll do on Friday, each time I update, is I do create a video for the parents. I put it on our web page and our Facebook page to keep the community and the public updated regarding the COVID-19 numbers. Page 21, you've seen this one, but this is for August 23rd. This is the Mississippi cases by age group. And what I wanted to include here was for the public to see what these age groups, who these represent. And you have from your newborns and infants all the way up until your 6th through 12th grade. But August 23rd, those are the numbers. On page 22, that was the September 10th report or update. And as of today, if you look at page 23, those numbers have increased in the age group ranges for students. On page 24, on page 24, I broke this down by age group again. So if you look at page 24, these are your monthly increases in the newborns and infant sections. And so as you can see, for the newborns and infants, although those numbers are increasing, they are decreased. They're not as high as they were between July and August for the newborns and infants. Page 25, those are your toddlers and pre-kindergarten age groups. Page 26, these are your kindergarten through 5th grade age groups. And if you look at page 27, these are your middle to high school grades. And for the month of between August and September, if you look at those numbers are where your more large increases are in cases for 6th through 12th grade age groups.
Dr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to obtain any data, this type of data, for the county of Leflore?
The county?
Uh-huh.
This is the entire, no, not this for the county. I did contact the health department, and she said they could get it, but they don't have it printed, so it was something that they would actually have to go through and calculate themselves. So this is the close I got to it for Leflore County, but I do have some of the school reports, but however, our kids are not in school, so it would be, you really wouldn't know on that one. But I can contact the health department again to see if by the board meeting or our next work session, if they could provide us with those numbers. Okay. Also, what the Mississippi State Department of Health provides is a COVID report for Mississippi schools. And this is what you'll see on page 28. And this report, this was the August 17th through the 21st report. We have that, we had that during our previous sections, but they give you the total number of new cases for COVID for teachers and staff for that particular week. They give you the total new COVID cases, positive cases for students. They give you the total of the new COVID-19 outbreaks for that week. And then they give you the total number of teachers and staff who were quarantined due to exposure. That next column is the total number of students quarantined due to exposure. And then the next column is the total COVID-19 teachers who tested positive since the start of school, total number of students who tested positive during school, and the total number of outbreaks of school. So that page 28, that was a report from the week of August 17th through the 21st. Page 29 is a report from, that shouldn't be a 17, that week of August 28th. The page 30 is August 31st through September 4th. And then you have your page 31, September 7th through 11th. And these are the new numbers added, pages 31 and 32 is a new report for the week of September 14th through the 18th. And they haven't put this week up, but this is the most recent data. And lastly, on page 33, you have the Mississippi State Department of Health does provide a report for COVID cases in schools in Leflore County. So this report comes from the schools, whether it's a private school or public school in Leflore County. So these numbers are representative of that. Next, we have Ms. Coleman with the counselor, social worker support numbers per school. Ms. Coleman.
I was just gonna say, prior to me coming to the meeting, if you all could refer to your telephones, I sent each one of you something from the governor on today regarding masks. So if you all could take a look, and so we do know that those numbers are gonna go much higher than what you've just shown us.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. We've identified some days for our students, parents, and teachers who are in need of social work services. Social workers are available each day of the week for our school community members. So this flyer we've sent out, we've placed on the Facebook page, website. We've emailed it to staff members, and we have them located in various places and buildings around the district. So if you know of anyone in need, please ask them to reach out. We're available.
Dr. Brown, have these people, all these people listed, have they started their virtual schedules yet?
Yes, they should have started. And our principals were reminded that they should be. Social workers are following a hybrid schedule. Next on the agenda, Ms. Milton asked about just commenting or this, I'm not sure if discussing, but the recent violence in the community, and just wanted to take the opportunity to have some comments around it. I asked Mr. Anwan Brown, he's over safety for us, if he would come and talk about how the work that they're doing to ensure that there's safety within the district. Mr. Brown and his team, they do work well together, and he keeps us informed on the happenings, whether it's in district or out of district, but I want to give him that opportunity to speak at this point. Mr. Brown.
And while he's coming, Dr. Brown, by the time our meeting next week, if we can look at some character ed and some consulting to be able to help along with Mr. Brown and his team.
Good evening.
Good evening.
School Board, Dr. Brown, administration, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what's going on in our community. Basically, as it relates to the school district, we are continuing to doing our training with our officers. I had 3 in there today, and we actually preparing for the upcoming or when the kids come back. Because we know that we definitely got to be on the alert when they get back because of what's going on in our community. We're ensuring that, as I say again, proper training is happening, and also that our buildings are secured each day. And I feel that all the officers are doing a great job with informing me on kind of what's going on and ensuring that our buildings are secure. Now, basically, from a school standpoint, that's all we can do, is get prepared. We don't have the kids here to do any counseling or anything like that. But I can say, with the wearing another hat, there's a lot of things that's going on in our community that trying to help and alleviate this problem with the killing of our youth in our community. There's things that's going on, law enforcement wise, that there's people that are here doing things in the community that people don't know about, that's not visible. So things are happening. We are aware out there in the community of what's going on now. The chief and the sheriff always let me know what's going on, because I told them, especially if it's something dealing with our student, we need to know before it comes to school so we can head it off. So they do a great job of letting me know kind of what's going on so we can actually head some things off. But again, our community needs prayer, because there's a lot of things happening out there that people don't know. But as far as the schools related, I think we're doing a great job with training our people and making sure that they're ready when our kids come back. So, and the officers definitely know what to do. I think, I know they got zero tolerance with certain things that's happening within our department, with the school, with the community. So I think, I feel comfortable and I feel safe that these guys are ready when our kids come back.
How many officers do you have, Mr. Brown?
I have 4 SROs, and I think it's maybe 10, if I'm not mistaken, SSO. Am I correct, Doug? I think it's about 10 or 11 as it stands right now.
Mr. Brown, first let me say thank you to you and your staff for the outstanding job that you all do. Oftentimes I think safety and security can be overlooked until it's needed. So kudos on the job well done thus far. However, my question is, do we have anything in place in regards to maybe like a memorandum of understanding or something with the Sheriff's Department and the Greenwood PD, or if not, where we can open up our buildings to just let police walk through? I think sometimes a visible presence to some degree could deter any violence or any other activity that could be deemed illegal or harmful.
Yeah, yes, sir. We, as I say again, the sheriff and the chief and I, we work well together, and we do have that. They do come to our campuses and they get with our officers, and they do sometime walk through. And y'all may not know this, but myself, Officer Carledge, and Officer Cobbs, we are deputized by the sheriff, so they give us an opportunity, if something going on with our students beyond our campuses, we have the authority to go out and have any other rights as any other officer, because a regular SRO can't operate 500 feet outside the school district. I mean, outside the school property. So we do have some officers that can do that. So yes, sir, we welcome that, and plus we make a great team with the chief. We do training together, and that's most important, because if the incident happens, you got to know what the next person's gonna do. So we do a lot of training. We done some training with the police department with our firearms just last week. So yes, sir, we do have that. We got a good relationship with our heads of our law enforcement.
I have a question, Mr. Brown, right here. It's always been my concern with all the schools having open campuses. I heard you mention that you, the buildings are secure. Do you have anything in place for the outside perimeters? Because oftentimes with our schools being located in communities, if students want to make something happen, weapons or whatever can be placed there outside of school time. So that's always been my concern of what could be placed on a campus outside of those buildings.
The only thing that we can do and that can help that is a secured campus, meaning a gate, meaning a fence, and of course, I mean that's an additional cost and things like that. But that's the only thing going to be properly safe that is secured on the outside. We have cameras That's in place in case certain things happen. My officers, they patrol the campuses, they patrol inside. That's why it's good, and we do have every officer at every school. So we try to do the best we can, and you are correct. Some of our schools happen to be in certain communities that some of this activity is going on. We're going to pay a lot more attention to some of those areas when our students come back. So we're doing the best we can with that, but just 100% proof. If you don't have no fence around your school, it's really hard to stop somebody from at least coming on campus.
Make a clarion call out to the board that we may possibly revisit some of our safety policies to ensure that we are covering all bases when it comes to safety and security of our buildings, our students, and our teachers. We could maybe revisit that during a work session.
I can say, Doc, if I want to add to that, my officers each year do a safety assessment, and that instrument came from MDE, and that instrument includes from outlets that may need replacing, a kid may stick their finger in there, from fire extinguishers to anything that could be fixed by maintenance. And what we do, get a report and shoot it up and let everybody know, each school, what's going on. So we have to do an assessment because that assessment actually has to go to MDE. So we do that on a yearly basis.
Thank you so much, but I just wanted us as a collective body to make sure that we do what we need to do, a re-review of the policies that we do have in conjunction with our attorney, if that's okay, with the board. Thank you.
My thing is, do you, Ms. Brown, do we ever have training like with regular teachers? You know, like you might get a few teachers, just say at the high school, that you feel comfortable with, that like if the ones that have to walk and talk or whatever, in case something major happen, you know, that do y'all ever train with those teachers, like they have code passwords or something that they know? Because I know it's not enough for you all, but if you get 2 or 3 of them on each campus, that can help out a little manpower if it's nothing but just heads up on some things. That do we ever cross-train with a few teachers?
Yes, sir, Mr. William. That's called a safety committee, and we do have that at each school. My officers are responsible for getting with the principal, and they name different people to that safety committee, and they're supposed to meet quarterly according to MDE, and they have a guideline as of things that they're supposed to look for and supposed to do, and that safety committee is supposed to be able to pinpoint and, as you say, look at and just see if there's some danger ahead or what's going on. So yes, sir, and at the beginning, we train with our teachers. I've done several safety meetings with teachers, principals, assistant principals. So yes, sir, I want everybody on the same page, because if we're not on the same page, one of my enemies there. If we're not on the same page, then we can't be effective when it comes to safety. And everybody has to feel that safety is important. And I thank you, Doc, for saying that, because a lot of times we do get caught up in education. I'm not necessarily talking about this district. I'm talking about statewide. I serve on a committee statewide that I know that's what's happening. So if everybody really believed that safety is first, then we would do all we can to make sure and ensure that that's happening. And I think, I know Mr. Johnson and Dr. Brown, they're giving me the leeway to make sure those things are happening. So I appreciate them for that.
So, Mr. Brown, is it possible, I don't know, but 2 of your officers at the back, where they can introduce themselves, and if they have anything they would like to add, if we have time?
Yes, sir. They can come up. I have one that I'm gonna let them say, but one is fairly new. But you guys come on up and introduce yourself. I have several that got experience. If you look at, they've had prior experience with other agencies, So they're not new, but they're new to the education component, and that's what I'm trying to instill, and we're doing the education component because schools are different than the street, and we have to make sure that we know that because we're here for our kids, okay?
Good evening to everyone. I am Officer Tawana Friend. I am one who has prior experience in law enforcement, and this is new to me also, and I'm also willing to learn everything that I can. Thank you.
All right, good evening. How everybody doing? My name is Officer Terry Cobb. I've been in law enforcement for 32 years. This is my first time really working in the school district, but I thank y'all for giving me an opportunity for coming to your district and work. It is different from working the streets, but I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to make it safe, just like we do it in the streets. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart giving me an opportunity. Like Chief Brown said, we got to work together. If we work together, we can get the job done. But thank you.
Good evening. Officer Dixon, this is my first order as well. Like my chief was saying, I believe safety is first. Not too much I can say, safety is first.
How y'all doing? Officer Douglas College, lead officer. I want to go back to the question Ms. Lewis request to ask Mr. Brown about safety on the outskirts of school. In the evening time, we do have police officer, Ms. Lewis, patrolling the area when school is out. We also have the juvenile officer coming around all the time and letting them know what child been involved on the situation. He'll give me or Mr. Brown a call every week, through the day or on weekends. So we do have our school, and we also give it the sheriff, make sure they patrol all our dead areas in the floor east. So we do have our outside really maintained if anything go on. So we are safety first, best school district, safety department in the world.
All right, Bird.
Ms. Brown, one more statement to your new officers, because I know you know this thing. I've never been an officer, I've never been a teacher or administrator, anything, but I have worked with students all my life. And one thing I can tell you, if you all develop a relationship with those people, your school, they will let you know what's going on before. And that's the key. If you can, every day they come in there, it's an officer, but I'm a friend also, and they'll let you know who got some of their book bag and all that stuff. So that's just a key note.
Yes, we went over that just today. We instilled that in them because they know a lot of things before we do. And a lot of time, this is the only place sometimes my kids may hear a kind word. So, and that's what I tell them, because we don't know, and you guys don't realize some of the things that go on in our community. I just happen to know because I'm out there with some stuff that some of the things that our kids are going through, and I feel, I really feel bad in a lot of cases. So I tell my officers, you give a kind word because that can make that kid day.
Mr. Brown, I have one more question. Have you had the opportunity to have some simulations with outside agencies, other law enforcement, MedStat, in the event that a major disturbance occurs?
Yes, ma'am. That's in our safety plan, and I know we have, you speak of MedStat, Pafford, all of those, we do have contact with them because there's a procedure that we have to do in case of a certain emergency, whatever that particular emergency is. And officers know who to contact, what to do. So yes, ma'am, we have a close working relationship with them. And once a year we do a active shooter drill, and that's where we include the other agencies. And we go through the whole spiel in case something happened like that. So you got to have a working relationship because these people got to have your back, and you got to know that you got their back. Because you get into a fight or get into something like that, you need to know who you're working beside. You need to know who you can trust. You need to know exactly what's going on. So yes, ma'am. I actually bring them in a lot of time to speak to our officers on different occasions.
Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
And again, Dr. Brown, we appreciate you officers. Just from experience from working in an alternative school before I retired, one of the things I used to say to my students is we wanted to change their negative behaviors to positive behaviors. So in collaboration with those guys, we know that they're gonna make us safe, but we still need something to help change our children's minds. So we can look as a board, along with you, some things that we can do to help our kids.
Okay. Thank you, officers. Okay. Next, we have progress report update from Dr. Pulley.
Good afternoon. On September 17th, the school district mailed progress reports to all parents. Also, we provided the access via Active Parent online so that parents could access students' progress reports. To our knowledge, that process went well. We have not had anyone to call us regarding progress reports. So we're happy about that. We know that this first 9-week period has been different for us, but we did deliver our progress reports in the manner in which we did share with our community.
Question, Madam President, Dr. Brown. What do we have in place for parents who would possibly like to question the absenteeism of their child with virtual learning? I know it's different where if we were traditional, we know Johnny was not there. But with virtual learning, we can have connection issues or what have you. So what mechanism, or have we thought of that in the event that we mark Jane absent, but Jane may have physically or actually been present?
So most parents would reach out to the principal if there was a concern and communicate that with the principal. If the concern was still not resolved, then it would reach us. We haven't had anyone to contact us about the absences or any, but if they did, they would come to us. But for the most part, that is a school level. I do have a principal here who could possibly answer what occurs if he's received any concerns about that. But for the most part, we have tried to work with parents, just comments or feedback from our principals meeting. If students have any connectivity issues or so, then the teachers are reporting that. So the teachers are working with those students. The students will, for the most part, immediately log back on if they can. If not, email the teachers to let them know. But I would like Mr. Mays, because he's the middle school principal. Mr. Mays, if you had any comments or if you can respond to that question, please.
And I apologize, Mr. Mays, for Dr. Brown putting you on the spot.
Good evening. As far as absentees is concerned, we utilize the WebEx platform, and so when students log into that platform, it automatically documents whether or not they've logged in or not. It also shows whether or not students are having technical issues, and so if they drop out, they'll come back in. And so if they do populate on our absentee, we call to make sure whether or not those students were in class that day or if they were having technical issues, and then we just kind of document those contacts. And so, you know, we have a face-to-face platform, and we also have a learning management platform. And so we can also double check by going to the learning management platform, see if they completed a assignment for that day. And so that lets us know if they were interactive with our learning management system for those days.
So you spoke about WebEx, but I know sometimes we use Google Meets as well. Are you familiar with if they have that same compatibility or option?
I believe Google Meet has the same compatibility, and so it would be able to, as students are signing in, they will sign in with their email addresses and also their names, and so anyone who's utilizing those platforms will be able to document those students' presence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Williams talked about developing the relationship with students, and I invited a person that we do know in our district, Ms. Arika Watkins Thomas, who has a wonderful relationship with the students, and she's working to provide some engagement activities not only for Amanda Elsie High School, but for every school within the district. So I wanted her to come and to share a plan that she proposed to me, and she, because I'm giving credit where credit is due, worked with the other schools to select individuals to help carry out and implement that plan at every school for student engagement. Ms. Watkins Thomas.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, administrators, the board. First, let me say thank you for the opportunity to actually be in the setting, to be more engaged with the students. As Dr. Brown said, I'm very engaged with the students, but this program that I put forth to Dr. Brown and Dr. Pulley, who came in and we met, it's called Royalty on a Virtual Level. And what we're doing is, for me sitting in the classroom and seeing how the students' morale was really, really down, I decided that if we put something together and work together as a team, as the consolidated team, then I think that we would move forward. So what I did was I came up with Royalty on a Virtual Level. We already know that our students love to be the king or queen of their schools. And we know that the parents are all engaged in that process. So what I did, we sat down and we thought about how we could put this in every school. Well, thanks to Dr. Brown, she insisted that we include the smaller schools. But including the smaller schools has actually enhanced the whole program within itself. So we are voting virtually. We are promoting positive behavior on a virtual level. We have put in place some activities that we're going to extend to all of the schools. Some of the activities, one of the activities for the high school includes, it's called Run It Up. Run It Up is nothing but the athletes, the track team. We're using the track team. The queens are going to promote the track team. And we're going to see which school can have the best attendance for the month. We want to put together a banner, and we're going to pass that banner around each month so that the students can see, hey, we're in competition now. We got to get to school. It's just something to pull them in. And I promise you, just by us announcing the fact that we were still having royalty on a virtual level, yes, we will do the same thing as if we were in person, but it's just going to be virtual. It's so exciting. The students are excited. The parents are even more excited. So let's talk about the babies. Well, what are we going to do for the younger students? Well, the younger students are actually going to have socials, and these socials will include the mom and sons. We're going to clear the floor at their house. They're going to clear the floor, and we're going to have a ball. We're going to actually dance with each other. You know, and we're promoting that connection with family. Then we're going to have a son and we're going to do son and mom, and we're going to do daughter and dad. I went out and I talked to one of the banks, and one of the tellers, I think his name is Chris, he's going to donate us some paper banks. Well, we're going to go virtual. The younger queens are going to go virtual, and this particular activity is called Save My Money. Well, Save My Money, the parents are going to have to be there with the students to put the banks together, and we're going to see who's going to save the most money, just to get the children involved. That's our main goal. So with that being launched, we've already launched the elections. It's going well, and I really would that I would have stopped today and took a picture. Guys, we have become one. We have become one. We all met together today. Greenwood, Leflore County, and the Amanda Elsie High School. We met together on a platform which was phenomenal. And to see the results of what's to come is going to be even more exciting. So I'm excited just to have the opportunity to put this out for the young people to get them more engaged. And I promise you, our motto and our class mantra is, we are motivated by the Most High, screaming, be great, demanding excellence, and compelled by the spirit of a champion, applauding the achievements of others while relentlessly stalking our own. We are hopping hurdles, breaking barriers, and crushing the things that will confine our greatness. They ain't built like us. Somebody gotta be great. Why not be great at GLCSD? That's mine.
Hey, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How did you remember all that?
That's my class mantra. My whole class knows that.
Yeah, I want to be like you, but thank you so much for your efforts as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
All right.
Ms. Coleman also has been working with the chiefs, and they are working on with engagement activities. Ms. Coleman, would you like to share?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think I have the enthusiasm that Ms. Watkins has, but I'll give it a go. What we're working on in all of our schools is trying to break the monotony of the virtual classroom, because if you've been to one virtual meeting, you've been to them all, where you sit and get. So one of the things, or several things that we're trying to do is, one, give students adequate breaks, and to make learning fun, virtual learning fun. So what we've introduced in many of the schools is some performance-based tasks that includes virtual bingo that's focused on the skill and lesson, virtual stations or virtual learning centers. So it's exactly what we do in a regular school, but we're doing it on the virtual level. Gamification is a big one, where games and trivia, we're adding games and trivia to the actual learning environment. A lot of the games that they have for students now, they're making them in a game so that students can participate. Google Earth scavenger hunts. I think today we had our second virtual science experiment. I think Ms. Daniels held that today at 3:30. It's the second one where they've teamed up with, I think, Mississippi State or someone, and they're doing fun activities with students that are hands-on. Incentives, methods for acknowledging all students in the class and calling on them so that students will all be involved in the process and not just lost in the sauce, so to speak. So we're trying to, again, break up the monotony and make learning fun for everyone, all grade levels. Even in our pre-K, we've given our parents a go in pre-K and kindergarten, where students have to get up out of their seats. If we're working on a color blue, you get up and you find something blue in the house and bring it back and have a quick show and tell. We bought book bags for students with manipulatives inside. We're working on some book studies, just trying to do some things, one, to mirror the regular setting, and two, to keep students engaged and moving in the virtual setting.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. We will have our financial consultant update by Mrs. Washington. We have Ms. Suzanne Smith, who's still working with us, and Ms. Debbie Jones. I asked Ms. Washington if she would provide an update from the work that the consultants are doing.
Good evening, board. As you know, Mrs. Debbie Jones, who was here as a consultant, she and I both were working on getting the budget for this year up and running, and which of course the board did approve on, I think, September, in the first week of September, or second week of September, and I'm just calling September, August, sorry. And so we were finished with our thing as of that particular date, when the board approved the budget. Ms. Smith, Suzanne Smith, right now, she has been working on trying to close the gap between the consolidations. Our last audit was completed this week, in which the state sent us approval to pay his the auditor's final bill. So she's closing out the data based on that last audit from Greenwood Leflore, and once that's completed, she's also helping me with the closeout for this school term that just passed, and that includes things like bank reconciliation. She's working on in-year closeout journals that have to be made, and then she's supposed to do some additional training for in-staff. And And right now, we are also, trying to find a auditor for FY '20. I've only received one, audit, request, company, which is Fortenberry Ballard. I'll check to see if we can find anyone else that might want to do the audit. But right now, just that one. And when I get the information from Ms. Suzanne, I'll speak with her to see if she wants to go ahead with them or try to pursue someone else. And then I'll let the board know. That is all we have.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the internal training that she's going to conduct, is that going to address what we have on page 73 of this document? Or do you have a copy of it?
Yes, ma'am, it
is?
will. And I
Okay.
spoke with Ms. Debbie Jones also regarding that, and she's going to work with them also to address that on 73.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Washington. Next, we have our early college update, Dr. Pulley.
Ms. Hart is here to provide an update on the early college high school. We've been in communication with representatives from Mississippi Delta Community College. Ms. Hart.
Good afternoon or good evening. We have, as Dr. Pulley said, we met with representatives from MDE, IHL, and MSU concerning the early college high school so they could talk to us about next steps. As I mentioned before, the deadline for the application is December 1st. On September 22nd, MDCC President Jackson and his staff hosted a meeting with Greenwood Leflore Consolidated School District. And in that meeting, we talked about all the things that need to happen in order for us to move forward. So we discussed personnel. Well, the main thing we discussed was the implementation date. And in order for us to implement it, the goal is to go into implementation for the August 21-22 school year. And in order for that to happen, we need to go ahead and do a memorandum. The most pressing issue is the memorandum of understanding that we would need done by this month in order that you, the superintendent and the board of GLCSD and the board for MDCC will have the opportunity to look over the MOU and make changes, because the MOU and the application would have to be approved by November if both the district and the community college decide to move forward. It would have to be approved during November board meeting in order for us to meet the December 1st application deadline. Basically, we talked about personnel. The personnel needed would be a principal, a counselor, and 3 to 4 faculty members. We also talked about the facilities. All facilities and equipment would be provided by MDCC. Cost and tuition, we talked about the cost and tuition, and there are some things that I'll leave for the superintendent and the deputy superintendent to discuss with you all for as funds. Our cohort size, we decided that we would, we decided that we would have 60 students to start the cohort. And so each year we would add 60 additional students. Just knowing that after the first 2 cohorts, on that third cohort, each year, basically the district would be pretty much financially responsible for 2 cohorts at a time, because the first cohort in their third year, they would be able to apply for financial aid because they would basically be full-time college students at that point. Mr. Williams has always asked about the scholarship deal, so we made sure we addressed that. And what happens, Mr. Williams, I wanted to make sure I addressed that with you, is that the students will qualify to be a member of Phi Theta Kappa. And what they do is, if they keep that grade point average and all, and they become a member of Phi Theta Kappa, then they are eligible for scholarships. Programs to be offered, we talked about offering all the academic programs. They will offer all of those to us. And also, if they decide to get an applied science degree, they have a MOU with Delta State and the other college to accept those students in order that they may get a Bachelor of Science degree. They also talked with Mr. Johnson, was on the call, and we did discuss transportation and food, and he would be getting back with them once some decisions are made. So that's basically where we are. And as I say, the big thing is to get the MOU done this month so that you all would have an opportunity to look at it. The MDCC board would have an opportunity, and hopefully we can meet our December 1st deadline. I will say that I will be traveling to East Mississippi Community College next week to talk with their president and principal and to sit in on their early college high school classes and tour their campus in order to bring more details back.
And I will say, Ms. Hart is doing an excellent job at working to make sure that our high school students are being prepared for college and career. She's working with those students at the high school level. So we do appreciate Ms. Hart. What we're going to wait to get is the cost. I think for us that's something that the board would definitely want to look at to see if MDCC can work with us regarding the tuition, the fees for our students. And so once we receive more specifics, then we'll share that with the board.
Dr. Brown,
Yes, sir.
how many students they gonna allow us, or is it unlimited, or?
I think Ms. Hart said we start with 60.
Okay.
60.
Now, you said they will provide the building. Okay, so maybe with all these buildings we got, maybe we provide the building, they can cut the cost. Facility. Thank you.
Okay. Super.
Question, Dr. Ryan. So, just came to mind, Ms. Hart, in regards to the students physically potentially being on a college campus. What are we doing in regards to safety?
Safety was discussed during the meeting, and what we will have to do is, they are proposing the Tanner building, and if you're not familiar with WCC, that building sits near, it's sort of center, but there's a location where, it's where the bookstore is, it sits center. And so the students will not, until they're
And thank you for that. And as soon as you all can kind of give us an idea of what to expect, I would appreciate it because, you know, being a junior, maybe 15 to 16-year-old, I really don't necessarily trust being around college students. Yeah, everything is great at the Valley, so.
Ms. Hart, over here, yes. How will students be chosen?
We've been given samples of applications, and students will apply, and we will have a rubric based on what we have, and the district would need to select a committee to select from the applications. So it will be done based on the application and a rubric, plus parent signing off. Because students may apply, and then their parents say no. So it has to be approved by their parents.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And the only other thing, we did discuss that day, and I will reach out to our insurance representatives to see what that liability insurance would look like for those students going to their campus.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. We just concluded our superintendent social, the last day of our superintendent social, so Dr. Poole is going to provide that support, report. I'm sorry.
Dr. Brown, I have to do this for me for one second before Ms. Hart. Ms. Hart did not have to come today, but I want to publicly thank you, Ms. Hart, for coming, for soldiering on through. She's dealing with something, but I personally do appreciate you for that. I do. The superintendent social, it was a wonderful experience this week. We recognized, and I got the number right, Dr. Brown, we recognized 277 students, parents, and teachers on Monday, Tuesday, and today, and district level staff members. We want all of our staff, all of our students, all of our parents to know how much we appreciate them. It was the first time that we held a virtual superintendent social. Quite different from what we did last year, but everyone received their certificates ahead of time. And then principals from each school recognized the honorees for that particular school. When their name was called, they raised their certificates up so that we could see them on the camera. It was live where community stakeholders could watch each one of them. And so we as we always do each month, we definitely want to recognize our students and staff and parents for a job well done, especially during this time. Is quite a different time, and we recognize that all of us sometimes need somebody to say, "Hey, you're doing a good job." And our students were just their faces just lit up when we called their names. And so did the parents, and so did the staff members. So we had a successful superintendent social this week.
And today was the last day, and Mrs. Milton joined to congratulate the students, the faculty, the staff, and the parents on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
And I also gave likes and loves to every school. I think I might have missed one school.
Okay. Board members, he's not new to the district, he's been in the district over 20-some years, but he's leading our technology department. I want to give Mr. Shannon Storms the opportunity to provide updates in the area of technology. Mr. Storms.
Afternoon. Just have a few status updates that we've been working on. All of our E-rate equipment that we had from last year that was approved has arrived. That's $315,000 worth of equipment for 11 schools. This equipment is a total of 86 network switches we have to configure and get set up for schools to enhance our speed at every location. So quite a bit of equipment we have to configure and get going. This will help increase our speed from our internet provider coming into the district for all schools from 1 gigabyte up to 5 gigabytes. That is a tremendous upgrade for us. We are under new contract with the internet provider. We have not been able to use this new speed because we didn't have the equipment. So now we have it. So we're in a hurry to get that set up and tested to see if we're actually getting what we're paying for. The biggest thing is we used to be under a heavy load of speed and internet for testing environments, and now that we have no students, we can't really put the load in there like we want to test and see where we get. But that is a tremendous upgrade that a lot of other districts in the state do not have, and we're happy to have that. So we can get that equipment in place. We have multiple distance learning projects in the works. Canvas, we've been working with students and teachers, getting everybody imported in. We now have Mastery Connect, USA Test Prep. We have Google email repairs and setups that we've been working on, and quite a few other fixes. The Chromebooks and hotspot repairs are a continuous weekly process for us, getting claims, getting repairs, getting them sent off, getting them shipped in. We returned 57 more Chromebooks back to the school locations today for students that are repaired. In the works of working with Microsoft Office on a pretty big project that we're trying to merge using our existing .org address that we have like for the website and our email, so that we don't have multiple platforms for students and faculty to log in. Rather, they would use their existing email address and password we currently have, so that it's just not another, trying to keep a consistent platform so students don't have to remember 3 and 4 different things to get into different applications. And especially being at home, the Microsoft Office for Word and Excel works on a Chromebook, but at the moment we're trying to get them merged to where they can log into that using the Chromebook at home instead of using other applications. So we're trying to do a consistent platform with that. And staff from technology has been receiving a few trainings, webinars, and I've been helping as well on how to run some cables, basic camera connectivity, how to repair, just kind of dividing the load out to the staff and seeing if we can all get on the same page, see if we can progress further.
Question, Dr. Brown. So, Mr. Storms, thank you for a job that you've done thus far in your area. But can you identify 1 or 2 major challenges that your area may be facing right now that we as a board or the district overall could potentially look at in regards to helping you all with that?
That's a tough one. Our equipment is the biggest thing. Working with several grants, trying to see if we can get the equipment we need for schools. The whole Distance Learning Act is a huge process. Been working with that. We have Chromebooks if we can keep them in their hands. So the repair process is a heavy one for us. But this time, I think we're actually doing pretty well. Just trying to stay afloat and get all the software working and the technology issues that the students are reporting. And we've been taking help desk calls, parent calls, trying to walk them through individually. I've talked to quite a few students myself and fixed some problems. And it's somewhat easier to talk to the students at some level. So we're working through it, and it's not an easy fix, but we got it. We're good.
Thank you, Mr. Storms. Next, we have our MTSS and PBIS updates. Ms. Coleman.
Yes, ma'am. We are working daily with students on various issues. Ms. Carissa Mays, who's our PBIS coordinator is actually Ms. Milton, working on some character education things with students at every grade level. What's new for us this year is typically students populate with MTSS from MDE based on state test scores and failures, and because we had none of those issues, we had one student to populate. So what we've done is we've taken what we had last year, and we're adding, as we gain data from our universal screeners, teacher observation and things of that nature, and we're addressing those needs. So the first thing we did was we implemented the social worker schedule. That's the first step. The second thing that we've done was provide teachers with student engagement strategies. That's step 2. And so now step 3, we're working on character education and individualized training with students, especially our special population students. So we've had to kind of resolve quickly, but it's going very well.
Next, board members, you'll see it begins on page 38. We put out 3 surveys, one for parents, one for our faculty and staff, and one for students regarding considerations for reopening. Our plan was to remove the surveys on Monday, but we left them up. So as an executive leadership team, we haven't met on the results, but Mr. Johnson does kind of give us an update of what he's seeing regarding the results, but we did want to print the results today for you to review, and what we would do is leave the surveys up until next Monday so that we could get more responses. But you'll see the results there, and then each survey shows how many responses per survey. So as a leadership team, we have not looked at these results. We just want to print so that you'll have a copy to look at also as we go back and meet together to look at the results. But the questions for the surveys are on the survey, but also in front of each survey, you have a list of questions that we propose to the faculty, staff, the community, and the students. Next, we have school improvement support from Ms. Coleman.
We have three schools in the district that are SIG schools, and we're in our last year of implementation, but we added 2 schools last year, Eastern Leflore. So what we've done is we've paired the SIG schools with the schools new to school improvement so that we can mirror the same strategies. And what we've observed is before December, MDE will be in to do another virtual audit, and those audits, or that audit, will mirror what we did this summer with the SIG schools, in which we were very successful. So what we're doing is a transformational model across the district, implementing school improvement strategies, and we're including all of the schools in the district so that we're all following that model of school improvement.
We have an update, from nurses regarding their work. Mr. Johnson will provide the update.
Nurses have been doing multiple screenings. They've been working in conjunction with the school improvement office as well as special education department with conducting pre-K screenings, kindergarten screenings, and they're also helping to monitor and send in updated data to the Mississippi Department of Health when it concerns to the COVID cases within the school district.
And next, there's an update regarding our first 9 weeks exams. Dr. Pulley.
Schools have informed students and are informing students of the 9 weeks test schedule for next week. The Office of Academics are working on creating a video so that it can be posted on the district's webpage and the Facebook page, outlining the details of testing and just some specifics surrounding it. And as soon as we get that, we should be getting that posted no later than late tomorrow afternoon. All students in the district will take 9 weeks test as normal. It'll just be through a virtual platform. The tests, for the most part, are created by or through the online platform Mastery Connect. The curriculum team has worked to create the assessments for all tested areas, and then the item banks have been provided for teachers of the non-tested areas, where they can go in and select standards-based items in their areas, such as geometry or world history or algebra 2. And that way they'll have standards-based items that are aligned to the curriculum.
Okay, next we have universal screeners, Ms. Coleman and Dr. Pulley, as well as the early learning collaborative updates from Ms. Coleman.
We are pleased to announce that our pre-K and kindergarten students have been screened as required by MDE. At this time, we're only screening those students who it may be deemed necessary due to testing. We've done so in a safe manner, following all district policies and procedures as it relates to COVID-19. With our ELC, we're doing a great job. We're continuing to enroll students at this time. Previously, we've been in a partnership with Gilliam Head Start, who at this time have not opened, and as a result, some of those students have elected to enroll, and so we are accepting those students. We've purchased book bags for every student in the ELC, and we're also purchasing reading novels or books so that they can have a home library to increase and improve reading. We're trying our best to actively engage our younger ones and to keep them seated to some degree to follow the learning path. Our ELC students do not observe and follow the same curriculum as our K-12. They follow the OWL curriculum, which requires a lot of centers that we talked about earlier, which means the students have to be engaged in multiple things, one after the other. We put those rest breaks in there and sensory breaks and move to learn and some other activities so that we can keep them on task. And so far so good. We've done very, very well, and we're looking to welcome our new students into the district.
How many hours do you anticipate?
We have about 5 pending. We have 5 pending.
Also, universal screening in the areas of ELA and math for all other students. The window is from October 1st through the 30th. And so they will begin after 9 weeks testing, they will begin to take those universal screenings.
Next, we have the review of the agenda for the regular board meeting on Tuesday, October 6th of 2020. Call to order, approval of the agenda, superintendent's reports. We have our schools at risk reports. The first on page 77, the 16th section land report by Mr. Ainsworth. And then the next on page 7 to 8 in the packet, the federal programs procedural handbook. Dr. Pulley.
Just the handbook that is approved each year that serves as a guide for us in the Office of Federal Programs.
Okay. Next we have approval of athletic donations. If you look on page 140, approval of athletic donations, Mr. Johnson.
What you have is a group of several individuals that have donated toward the purchase of state rings for the Greenwood High School basketball team and coaches. And you would see the list following that executive summary of who those donors was, and we did have a previous donor prior to this one.
Okay, on page 147, the workers' compensation proposal, Mr. Johnson.
There you will find a copy of the workman comp proposal that has been provided. You can see the two organizations that submitted bids, and you can see who the cheapest bidder was on those bids. And actually, it's the same one that we're currently using now that had the lowest bid. But all bids went up. It is higher than what it was last year due to some of the claims that we had during the school year last year.
Next on page 151, approval of roofing project bid, Bankston Elementary Wing B and C. Mr. Johnson.
That actual opening of that bid would take place on October the 6th at 2 o'clock here in the boardroom. Bid and Riser will be conducting that bid opening. So as soon as I get that information, that will be information that I'll be providing y'all the day of based on who the winner of that open bidding is on that day.
Page 157, you have the district's parent and family engagement policy. Dr. Pulley.
This policy is a policy required by the MDE that we do get approved each year. And it just really make sure that all stakeholders have input in the decision making of the use of the purchases of what we're doing in federal program.
Page 162, you have the Life Help Memorandum of Understanding. Ms. Coleman.
Previously, we've participated in a partnership with Life Help. What we've asked them to do was to revise their MOU to align with what our district practices are as it relates to COVID-19 and other health issues. For example, we're not allowing the face-to-face interaction. However, some of our students who are enrolled in the Life Help services do receive face-to-face services, but they do so at the center. And inside of this MOU, it does outline the procedures that they're following, but it's up to the parent and the students to do that, but they're not allowed to do those things on our campus. The majority of their work is done virtually and via telephone or telephonically, but some of those students are receiving face-to-face services and transportation, and those guidelines are enrolled there, but that's between the child, the parent, and Life Help, and we have no liability with those decisions that parents make as it relates to services for their child. And we do have those for your review to see what they're doing.
On page 184, you have the School Improvement Grant extended. Ms. Coleman.
We are in year 4 of the SIG grant, and as a result, we're at the bare bottom of our funding, and we must complete the program in its entirety, and that includes the extended learning day and multiple learning opportunities. So what you have there is a calendar with the dates that we would like to implement the extended learning opportunities for those SIG schools.
On page 186, Ms. Coleman, it has included the School Improvement After School Program for East Elementary School and the Leflore County Elementary School.
Because we've already had 3 schools in the school improvement process and we have 2 new schools, what we're doing is we're trying to mirror as closely as possible with these 2 schools what we did with the last 3 that were successful. The days indicated there are 25 for these schools, but it will keep them in alignment with and satisfying MDE's requirement as it relates to additional learning opportunities for students. And the calendar is attached for your review as well.
Next on the agenda, you don't see the page in your packet, is the approval of the 2020-2021 Dropout Prevention Plan. Dr. Pulley.
This plan is the same plan that was approved in February. The only change is that the format would look different to comply with the new template that MDE sent out. And so what we're working on just transferring what we already have to that new template, and we will have it for Tuesday.
And that plan has to be posted, into the, platform by October 1st. Dr. Pulley has submitted the information, and so we just, we'll have the document ready for you on next week. Next, you have on page 188, the monthly financial reports. Ms. Washington.
Okay. Of course, you have your regular reports that we give, which is your cash balance, fund balance, budget status, cash flow, and your claims docket. Does the board have any questions regarding anything on any of these reports?
I also would like to add, because the board just received this, packet, this claims document, just, that if you have questions, let me know, and I will get with Ms. Washington to make sure that we provide you with the information.
And please feel free to email me any questions that you have, so I'll be ready for you.
Next, we have the consent agenda, which will include the minutes of the regular board meeting of Tuesday, September 1st, 2020, and the minutes of the special call board meeting of Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Number 6 is consideration of executive session.
Chair will entertain a motion to close this meeting for consideration of executive session. It's been motioned and second, all in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.